Namaste ITV Gold viewers, my name is Lakshmi Singh and you are watching your favorite astrology show right here on ITV Gold every Thursday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. with none other than Himali ji from Himali Spiritual Center. Himali, namaste.
Namaste, namaste, Lakshmi.
Welcome back. It's been 1 week since all of us have seen you and we've missed you so much.
It's good being here. I miss everybody when I'm not here.
Well, Himali ji, week after week we talk to you about different topics that you can help all of us with. And viewers, those of you who are watching, remember, this is your opportunity between 7:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. to call in live. That's right, live to Himali ji at 718-784-8555, and that's at extension 108. Well, Himali ji, today we want to talk about what can we do to save our marriage or our relationship. I mean, today we're hearing so many people, arguing, not getting along, and especially with COVID, everyone being home together, we're finding a lot of more people are fighting, having disagreements. What can we do?
That's a really good question. A lot of people ask. It is. I feel relation when we first get married because of love. And then love runs out, then what do we have? Always in any relation, you have to have respect for the other person. And you must treat the other person the way you would like to be treated back. So it's not like I get angry so I can curse you or yell at you and expect anything different from the other person to do. So respect is a very, very big aspect in our relation. But if we take a little bit back, why before our mothers, our grandfathers, they used to do matchmaking.
Yeah.
So before you get married, you have to match the boys and the girls goodly to see if they make the 32 points. At maximum is 32. If you can make anything above 19 is great.
Above 19?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It is good. If you could make above that, because you see that where the moon is, where the sun is, where Venus is, where the Jupiter is. So there's a lot of combination you need to see. And certain relation, you could do certain puja, like if the girl is Manglik or the boy is Manglik, you could do certain puja before they get married.
Now let's talk about Manglik a little bit, because not many people know what that is. So what is it when someone is born under Manglik?
Manglik is a planet which is Mars. If it's in your 12th house, first house, if it's in your 4th house, if it's in your 7th house, and if it's in your 8th house, you are Manglik. And everyone has a different, the period can last from 24 to 33, even to 40. It depends the combination where your Mars is, if it's a girl, and where her Jupiter is. Sometimes because of that combination, if it's in a wrong place, like the girl is Manglik and the Jupiter is no good, then it could be very difficult for her to get married to anybody or find the right person. The guys, he'll be Manglik and his Venus, where's his Venus is.
Let's take this call.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for calling Himali ji. What is your name and your question, please?
नमस्ते हेमाली जी, मैं अस्मिता।
नमस्ते अस्मिता बहन, कैसे हो? How are you?
आई एम फाइन। आज एक क्वेश्चन है मेरे लिए, आपके लिए।
जी बहन।
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि अपना जो शरीर का आभा मंडल होता है, ओरा जो बोलते हैं, वो ग्रह के कांटेक्ट में होता है,
होता है कभी कभी बहन।
ओरा एंड आभा मंडल।
यस, वो होता है कभी कभी। तो देखना पड़ता है आपकी प्लैनेट कौन सी है। यूजुअली अगर आभा मंडल आपकी अगर ओरा खराब है तो देखते हैं कि कौन सी ग्रह कर रहा है ज्यादा। सो वी यूजुअली टेल्स for you to wear a certain stone so that your aura could be good, because sometimes the planet affects your aura also, because it could make you depressed, it could make you sad, because the planet is sitting in a position that it needs help.
Yeah, that is good thing to know. और मैं जो आपने दिया है मैं उसको चैंटिंग स्टार्ट कर
आप
दिया
जरूर
है.
स्टार्ट करना बहन. स्टार्ट द mantra that I gave you. It will really help you.
या और है ना, आप सब सेफ रहना. श्रावण मास है, सभी के लिए प्रार्थना करना.
Yes, I want to wish everybody. It starts from actually starts from Monday to Monday, which is for Shravan Mas, which is Shiv Bhagwan month. Everybody knows that. Saturday is Nag Panchami. From that day, from Saturday, you usually count 10 days. So it's from Monday to Monday. So it'll be Monday 27 till August the 3rd. Shravan Mas, which is Shiv Bhagwan month. We pray a lot to Shiv Bhagwan ji.
अच्छा अच्छा बहना, मिलेंगे फिर. और सेफ, आप सब लोग सेफ रहना.
आपको भी बहन. Thank you so much.
हाँ, ओके, या.
So Himali ji, we were talking about if a young lady or a young man is born under Mars, and this can affect them from getting married. So
It does affect. So what happens if you don't do the vidhi, like the puja, whatever needs to be done? We usually get them married to a tree before the marriage. Otherwise, that marriage will break up. It will become divorce. They will go into separation. They'll have a lot of difficulties.
Now, this is quite unique, for people to hear, especially people who may be born here. A lot of the Indian children are born here. And according to their astrology, they may be born under negative Mars.
Yes.
And now, as an astrologer, you're saying to marry a tree. What does the tree represent? Now, actually, I've heard that Aishwarya Rai did this same ritual.
Yeah.
But
See,
tell us what the tree
Mars
represents.
planet is not negative on everything. It's only going to affect your relationship, the love life. Mars will give you great intuition power. It will give you courage. It will make you do things that mentally you'll be strong. So it's a very strong planet. Mars, as you say, they'll say you can't go. It's 90% of it is all fire. So it is a very strong planet. And if it's sitting in a negative place, like if it's sitting on the 12th house, if it's sitting on the 1st house, 4th house, the 7th and the 8th, it will affect your relationship. But it doesn't affect anything else. It will give you a great career. It will give you a great education, respect for you to do things. You won't be feeling scared. But for love life, it does affect. So you should really see if you're always having difficulties in relationship, you're having, then get your horoscope, your astrology page open and see if you are muggling. Sometimes it could be another planet, but 90% is because you're muggling. That's why you're having relationship problem. Men and women have it too.
So viewers, those of you who are looking at Himali Ji right here on ITV Gold, Himali Ji Spiritual Center, you can visit her at 131-14 101 Avenue in South Richmond Hill, or you can call in for a consultation. The number is going to be 718-887-2929. Again, it's 718-887-2929. Right now, because of coronavirus, there's no walk-ins. You must call Himali Ji directly for a consultation. Now, again, many of you guys who are home and are watching this program, and if you have children that are over the age that, perhaps you think they should be married, or maybe you're watching this and you feel that maybe you're over an age and you're not finding the right person, this may be what you're going through. They may be born under Mars.
Yes, and some other planets, and sometimes the planets are no good, so you cannot meet the right person. And sometimes what people do, Lakshmi, they feel like they compromise a lot just to get married. They feel like, okay, I need to get married, and that probably is not the right person. Then after 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, you can't compromise anymore. So that becomes into a bad relationship. And usually, why we check the horoscope before we get somebody married, because you will have difficulties in marriage. When two people are together, you will have difficult times. Sometimes you see there's people who have relation up to 25 years and then they get a divorce. Your horoscope, when you making the matchmaking, it will tell you ahead of time, do not marry this man or do not marry this woman, because after a certain years you will get divorced, separated. It's great. I feel like it's not great, but you see people who are married less than 10 years and they separate, you feel like, okay, they didn't invest that much. But you have people who invested up to 30, 40 years and they're old. They're like 60s and they're getting through a divorce. Unfortunately, it is happening. I have seen people, and it is very, very sad. Usually it's the male who doesn't want to be with that female. And then that female, all her life, she dedicated. Usually women are more, I'm not saying guys are not, they are, but women are more dedicated to sacrifice their feelings and their self to a relationship than the guys are. So they attend because of our Indian culture. It doesn't matter where you're from, Guyana, Trinidad, India. Our culture, our mentality is like, okay, we have to be married. No matter what your husband does, you have to be married. We've been brainwashed from the time we were born by our mother, our grandmother, which is great, but it doesn't mean you have to be miserable.
So if there's a woman watching ITV Gold right now and is in this particular situation where she's been married 30, 40 years and now the husband is saying, I think it's time for a divorce, but she doesn't want a divorce, what can she do to save her marriage?
I feel saving comes from both, or one person. She should come and take a read and see, is this just a phrase, is that period they're going through, what mantra she should do, what puja she should do at that time. And usually it's like a rain, you're having a storm, don't say anything, do what you need to do, protect yourself, and then it will be okay. Or will that marriage is gone, is no more. So it is very important to come and get a read, look at the horoscope and see what mantra you should do, what puja you should do, if there is somebody doing something to make this marriage break. So there's a lot of things you have to see. If somebody is a third party involved, and is that person doing things, what can you do? And does your husband really loves you, who really want to be with you, but because of some other influence is having negative effect in your life? You should be able to know all of this beforehand and get rid of it. Sometimes some guys are just bad and it's worth you just leave it.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Well, viewers, if you are watching this and you're experiencing anything that we're talking about tonight on Himali Spiritual, please do give her a call at 718-887-2929. Again, that's 718-887-2929. Now, Himali, we're talking about relationships, and I'd like to know your opinion when it comes to marriage. Do you think it's better to have a love marriage or an arranged marriage?
I think they both are good, but I believe in matchmaking. It is so important. If you love somebody, both of you go together and see. Usually when people, they're in love, they don't want to see this. They don't want to know. I have had couples that I have told them that it's not going to work out. After 5 years, they will go through. This is what they should do. They can wear Rudraksh, Gauri Shankara Rudraksh. There is so many things they can do before they get married, or even if they did, what they should do. But I believe in both, but more I believe in rage. Like but after your parents and everybody rage, you should go out. You shouldn't just say blindly yes, because that is wrong too. There has to be some attraction there too. Astrologically, number-wise, they could make a great match, but there is no attraction. So I believe, yes, we do a matchmaking, and then you should go out with the person, get to know them a little bit more before you say yes.
Do you find today that there's still matchmaking going on?
Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah.
We still have it in India. There is a great program that a lot of people watches. It's called, I think, Bombay Matchmaking. So there is program on Netflix. So India, it does exist. It's a very big thing. We do have matchmaking.
What about here in New York?
I think we should. We should have, because what people do, they're afraid to go on the internet. Mm-hmm. Here we do, Indians do. They usually tell somebody who carries the pictures of some others. We have it back home. So we have it here in New York and in America. That's somebody who actually does the matchmaking. They will know whose girl is to get married, whose son is there, who's available. I believe if somebody does it, it is better, because when you go on the internet, you don't know you. you can't ask these questions. So for example, you have a daughter and you want a great son. You will ask me, tell me, Himali, I want this for my daughter. I would like to see this, and my daughter is so shy. You like to see the profile before you meet the person.
Of course.
So I believe that you shouldn't go blindly. You should meet the profile, see, and then meet the person, and then if there's attraction and love happens, then yes, you should.
So Himalaji, you have helped thousands of people at this point in your life. I'm sure that there are many people who have come to you asking for help with matchmaking. Have you personally done any matchmaking?
Yeah.
You have. And how? And they've worked out, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I used to do a lot when I was younger. I was I tried to get everybody married to everybody that I knew who was single. I have at least 10 people that I know that, I mean, there is plenty of more, but they're still close to me and they're great. They're working it.
So let's talk about, I mean, we've been talking about marriages. What about basic relationships like girlfriend, boyfriends, or fiancés? Right now, lots of people are finding it difficult to be under the same roof 24/7 because of coronavirus. What would you say to someone who's just a girlfriend, boyfriend, or are engaged? What can they do to save their relationship?
I think this is the time you have to learn to understand each other and not judge each other, and don't get a third person. Usually relations are broken or have problem because of a third party interruption or a third party involvement and third party there. You yourself should be able to say, hey, forget about the whole world. Everybody has, they will say this is a great guy or he's a bad guy. Do you like the guy? Do you really, there has to be one thing you like about him. And will that out all the other negative things about him or her? You have to weigh it yourself and say, hey, he has a great, honest, I will say the best thing they should look in a relationship is that person honest. Is that person sincere? Will that person be my friend? Because there's a time in your relationship, the attraction finishes, but the friendship stays there. And if the friendship is there, then the attraction will come back again. But can we trust each other? That is the biggest you could do in a relationship. What people do, they don't trust. They have a lot of insecurity. And because they're insecurity, they drive a person away because of all the, oh, I have to see your texts. A lot of them relationship, I know they put password on their phones, which is wrong. I myself feel you are a husband or wife, unless it's a client, this is my business phone. You have some business things happening. But I feel you should respect each other's privacy, but yes, you should be open to each other. I know a lot of guys, they are in relationship. It doesn't have to be fiance or a girlfriend, even they are married and they have password on their phone. I don't believe in that. I feel like your phone should be open to each relation. If your husband or wife decides to pick up, to go through, it shouldn't be a problem. A lot of time I tell my husband, oh, can you pick up the phone? He said, I don't want to touch your phone. I said, no, pick it up and answer. I answer his phones too. So there have to be that. There shouldn't be anything you should be hiding. If there is the other person who's hiding the phone, they are hiding something, yes.
It's very interesting. It's so true that it happens so much, especially with females. Females always want to know who's calling.
But trust the other person. Trust. If you do not trust your partner, then that relation is not for you.
Right. So trust is very, very important, guys. And everybody knows that trust is the number one thing that's most important, I would say, in a relationship. So guys, if you're watching us right here live, 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on ITV Gold Himali Spiritual Center, you can give us a call right now at 718-784-8555. Again, it's 718-784-8555, and it's extension 108. You get one free question with Himali Ji. Now, Himali Ji, we're talking about relationships, and you know, I recently saw someone put a status on their Facebook about mother-in-laws, and you know, if you get into an argument, or if your mother-in-law is yelling at you or slaps you, what should you do?
That should be, the mother-in-law shouldn't do that. She should also know her boundaries. There are two people in a relation, and she has to walk out, and she shouldn't be physical.
The daughter-in-law should walk out.
Both.
Okay.
If it's a daughter, if the daughter-in-law was abused, the mother-in-law shouldn't have done that. Or if the mother-in-law abused the son-in-law, it shouldn't have done. The mother-in-law should walk out. That is none of our place to be. And usually, thank God now, the system of joint family living together is sort of like breaking away, which is great. But there are still mother-in-laws or women are refusing to leave their son or leave their daughter, and they want to be there, which is so unhealthy. It doesn't say it in any religion or any culture. We, unfortunately, in Indian culture, we have it, and that is totally wrong, because as a parent, I probably will feel hurt if somebody says something to my son, but that's his wife. They will have this relation. They will fight, they will make up, and they'll be sweet, they'll be sour, but I don't need to be there to watch that. And this is where a lot of problem comes in, where they live joint family together. They have them, I believe, in some kind of distance. Yes, you need to take care of your mother and father. I am not telling you to, ignore your parents or leave them to rot or leave them with their. You need to take care of. You have a responsibility to take care of your parents, but keep them in a house. You can live close by, and yet still, keep an eye on them and see what's happening. You can go once every day and visit them. But you do not need to live with them, because that ruins relationship a lot. So if you realize, Lakshmi, about 20, 30, 40 years ago, we were having a lot of divorce, a lot of separation. Now that has calmed down a lot in the last, I will say, a decade. So when we're talking about 30 years ago, a lot of problem, because people were interfering, and this was a time when people saying, hey, I need my privacy, I need my independence. And there was a lot of feelings were coming out, and a lot of people who were against it was facing, causing a lot of disruption in relationship. Right now, a lot of people are saying, hey, I don't want to live with your mother. This started in India a while now, almost a decade, over a decade, 20 years. They said, yes, I don't want to live with your mother. I will respect her. I can take care of her, but I don't want to live with her, which I believe in that, because it could be a great mother-in-law. I'm not saying they don't, but I don't feel they should live together.
So I've heard lots of stories from females that are married that do not live with their mother-in-law, but their sons, of course, go to visit their mom, as they should, but the females are always complaining about this not being able to cut the navel string between the mom and the son. What should the wife do?
The wife should sit and realize that it's no such thing as number one wife or a number one relation. Oh, you're the number one in my life. Every relation has a different love. Mother love is different, brother love is different, friend love is different, children love is different, and the spouse, the significant other, your spouse relation. So we have 5 relation type I just described, and we have 5 fingers. They're not all equal,
of course,
and we need them 5. If you cut this off, you won't be able to grab things if you cut the other one. So when people realize that every relation to a person is very important, but they all have their own place. They don't same love feeling. They're all of the 5 are love, but they're not the same type of love. So when you can master that as a wife or a husband, when you realize that, and you give everybody the equal or the balancing in a relationship also is very important. You cannot be extreme to one side and not extreme on the other.
In Hinduism, it's so important to give back to God, by having hawans and pujas. Now, if someone is married, is there a specific puja they should do to pray that their love life stays rich and fruitful?
They should. It's very important on anniversaries. So if you're married, also we give dates for marriage, and certain dates in the year are really good. You can get married. You don't have to think about good or bad effects. We don't get, a lot of people are fear of the panchak. They said, oh, don't get married. But that's not bad. Panchak, you could do business in that. You'll be multiplying. You could do bank deposit, transaction, anything finance. So every date has a good and bad. So certain dates we do not get married and certain dates we do. So on your wedding anniversary, the one you have the religious one, I believe that one is to be your actual wedding date instead of the signing one.
And which god do you recommend one prays to?
If you're having marital problem and you're having marital issues, do puja on your wedding anniversary. It helps. And Vishnu Bhagwan and Lakshmi ji.
Lakshmi and Vishnu, okay.
You have to keep a picture of them. Keep a Radha Krishna in your picture of Radha Krishna in your bedroom. But you should do puja to Vishnu ji and Lakshmi ji. Because if you realize that our Hindu god and goddess, Lakshmi ji and Vishnu ji is the only god and goddess doesn't have a marital problem. Every other Bhagwan has a marital problem.
It's true if you think about it.
If you think about it.
If you think about it, yeah. Ram and Sita, Krishna, Radha was never married.
Never married.
Shiva, Parvati.
Bhagwan, yes. So every Bhagwan, the marital life hasn't been good. And if those of you who really praise to Bhagwan and who is a spiritual person or an astrology person, they do have marital problem. Because they have all these energies of different Shaktis, so sometimes they do have a lot. So that's a different thing. But you should pray to Vishnu Bhagwan and Lakshmi ji, because Vishnu Bhagwan and Lakshmi ji is the only god and goddess are together. And in the Hindu puja, we do their puja before we get the marriage ceremony.
Himali ji, sometimes people plan so much for their wedding, and their wedding date is about to come up. And then someone dies in their family, like a grandfather or a grandmother. And the pundit will say it's not a good time to get married if someone died. Is this true or not?
This is a really big thing I say. If it's within, they usually wait a year. Now, there is any of the scriptures doesn't say you wait 1 year. Or some of people doesn't even pray for that whole year, and that is wrong. Usually every family has either the tithi, do they do it in every 13 days or the 17 days, 14 days. After you have done that ritual, that is your family, then yes, you can do. Maybe we won't do a grand wedding or a grand event, but you can do a small function if that's the wedding that the date it falls for them. If they can wait, great, but there is no scriptures say that you have to wait 1 year to get married. Only person who has to wait 1 year is the widow or the widower. They have to wait 1 year to remarry again. The rest of the thing goes back to normal. I will say maximum, let's say 40 days, and then everything goes back to normal. Wonderful. After the bandara, everything should go back to normal, lighting the diya morning and evening and doing the mantra. We don't have people enough Lakshmi praying. They think they can go to a pandit or a spiritual person and do a puja and everything is great. They have to maintain their puja, their prayer, their mantra every day too.
Well, Himali ji, thank you once again for always answering all of our questions right here on Himali Spiritual. Viewers, if you have any questions, you can give her a call at 718-887-2929. Make sure you call Himali ji, make an appointment. It is appointments only right now, Himali ji. It is that time. It's almost 8 o'clock. We're going to have to wrap up. Please wrap us up with a prayer.
I wish everybody a very, very happy Shivji ki. This month, please pray to Shiv Bhagwan. It will for your health, for wealth, and any kind of desire you have in your mind from this Monday, which is the 27th, till the 3rd. Any of these days, if you can do Shivji Puja, you do. If you can, simply throw dar every day to Shivji. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Viewers, for tuning in to ITV Gold every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. with Himali ji from Himali Spiritual Center. We'll see you next Thursday, same time, same place. Namaste.